Anime comes from Japan. The art style, the aesthetic, the culture, all comes from Japanese influence. With the culture of Japan also comes the worldviews of religion and spirituality. A few spiritual inspirations are in the background influence of anime, like Shintoism and Buddhism. Shinto or Shintoism is Japan's native and largest religion. That is, it's polytheistic with the belief in kami, which are like supernatural entities or being, which can be translated to God, Lord, or deities. These kami are either good or evil, often depicted as forces of nature, and have the reverence from the people who acknowledge the religion. Allegedly, Shinto doesn't really have any founder or scriptures, but it encompasses this broad idea of spirituality. You could think of anime like Mushishi, Inuyasha, Naruto, Princess Mononoke, Demon Slayer, and other shows that have this sort of depiction of Shinto in them. I also think it's cool that like kami translates to Lord and God, because like, you know, in my mind, my mind automatically goes to like, oh, like Jesus is the true kami. Christians don't come for me. Anime people don't come for me. That's just the way my mind works, okay? Buddhism is an Indian-based religion that came around Japan in like 525 AD. In India, it was founded by a guy named Siddhartha Gautama, who was a prince but decided to relinquish his status after seeing the suffering of the world around him and sought to understand it, but not indulging the things of the world and searching to figure out how to be free from suffering. It's said that he achieved enlightenment and taught others how they could as well. These teachings are comprised of 4 noble truths and the Eightfold Path. I always wondered when I would use my religious studies degree, because I literally was researching this and knowing about this and writing papers on this. So it's actually really, really crazy. I won't explain the paths, but the truths are realizing suffering, identifying the reasons for suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. Buddhism mostly comes from this idea that suffering happens because of the material world and people, desires, and for certain things, pleasures, possessions, living forever, all of which Buddhism believes creates suffering. Buddhism also deals with this idea of karma and being reborn, which is heavy in a lot of different anime. Think about like Naruto, Hunter x Hunter, Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho. Another religion I'll also hint at that I want to probably do a separate video on is Christianity in Japan and its influence on anime. Christianity came to Japan in about 1542 by European missionaries, which is great because they brought Christ there. And many people became Christians, but eventually, because of the horrors of colonialization, it was banned and Christians were persecuted. And one significant event that is highlighted through that Japanese Christian era is the famous 26 martyrs of Japan executed by crucifixion in Japan in 1597. I remember watching a movie when I was younger with not necessarily the 26 martyrs, but another event where Japanese Christians and European Christians were getting persecuted on a island because I think their boat got wrecked or something like that. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. And then to come to find out that happened, that actually happened, I was like, oh snap. So maybe one day I want to visit some historical Christian sites in Japan one day, if I ever get the chance to. Eventually, Japan let up, and although there is a small percentage of Christians in Japan, it still has influenced some of the anime that we watch. Think of shows like Vinland Saga, Seven Deadly Sins, Neon Genesis, and other shows like this. And I give the spiritual background because for some Christians, watching things not overtly Christian or promoting even some form of other spirituality is not okay to them, because of the idea that they might be easily influenced to walk away from Jesus or turn to something else other than him, or they might end up like being possessed by a demon. I don't know, there are many reasons why, but many anime take the liberty of having people get powers or influence from this kind of different religious worldviews, or even kami. And Naruto is able, like, this is an example, like Naruto is able to have immense power and be the hero of the show while at the same time being indwelled by a kami, the nine-tailed fox spirit, who eventually ends up coming to his side to help him defeat his enemies and save the village. And although I can like separate the two and see that although Naruto is indwelled by the spirit who gives him immense chakra and powers to be able to be one of the most powerful shinobis, Some Christians find this not okay because they see Kurama as a demon, and demon possession is a no-no in Christianity. And what's hard about this for me is, although I understand them, I don't think they consider Naruto's humanity in the show. His desire to achieve his dreams to be Hokage, the desire for friends, the desire for family, to protect the people that are dear to him. Like in the anime, it's shown that because of this Jinchuriki that Naruto possesses, he is a social outcast in his childhood because he's only known as the boy who had the demon fox, and they should stay away from him. And this causes Naruto to be very lonely in most of the show.
Watch out! It's him again.
Why don't you just go away? Go away, you freak!
Freak!
Freak! Why don't you die?
He's a monster. Don't even look at it.
Dang, it sounds like it has some biblical parallels where they're social outcasts in the Gospels, and they're isolated from people, and then Jesus comes to them. But that's just me though. That's how I see it. In anime that do not give off an overtly Christian worldview, you can still find that in a lot of anime shows. We can relate to them. And in my personal belief, the spirituality and religious themes displayed in anime, we see that it points to this reality that people that are creating these shows know God.
What do you mean by that?
It points to this reality in Romans 1, right? For since the creation of the world, God's invisible qualities, his internal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that people are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile, and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools and exchanged the glory of the immortal God for the images made to look like a mortal human being, and birds and animals and reptiles. As Christians, we see that as humans, we've given ourselves to things that are not gods. Everyone, regardless whoever you are, we have decided that these other gods or beings that can give us life rather than the true creator of life, who is Jesus. With anime having these themes, it's an opportunity to step into the anime community and people that watch them, where people are exposed to these things and introduce them